Good morning, everybody. 8:10 a.m. October 11th. October 11th. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, if you're returning, welcome back. Markets were interesting yesterday. Um, what we got yesterday was some short covering finally in the SPY. And what I talked about previously happened. Financials caught a bid. Healthcare, okay, um, caught a bid off the open. All right. And discretionary. That's the big one I wanted to talk about. That sector, right? I said that sector was keying up for a breakout, and it did. All right. So what I did is I put a bull put spread on XLY. Okay, at strike 157. All right. Basically, I'm just selling credit. I'm selling credit now. I got about 52 cents a spread. I'm selling that's $52 a spread, and I'm waiting now. If we got a little bit of a pullback, then I'll probably go for like a call vertical or something like that. So that pretty much the market needed healthcare, financials, and discretionary, especially to make a breakout, and that happened, which pushed the SPY up to partially fill the gap. It partially filled the gap, okay. But in futures, it actually in futures, the gaps in futures, it hit the gap, the bottom of the gap, and sold off. So very interesting, okay. And without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. Use find profile, market profile to find structure in this market. Also use supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, and the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day to find structure in this market. Okay, you want to be on the side of strength. You don't want to be on the side of weakness. All right, and put your trades on based on that. Now, yesterday, for myself, okay, I wouldn't say a mistake per se, but what I failed to look at in the beginning on the off the open was the potentially have short covering happen, right? And I saw an order flow, right, on a footprint chart. Sellers get caught at the bottom, but it's so early on. It was so early on that I was like, I don't like trading close to the open. However, that was going to break through resistance levels on stocks, and then the internals that I look at were very strong, and then that fueled the short covering rally finally in the SPY with discretionary breaking out with Tesla and Amazon. Okay, um, maybe I can show you. Maybe I can show you really quickly what I was seeing on a footprint chart. I don't know if everybody's familiar with footprint chart, but it's awesome. All right, let's go to it. I'm going to show you what I saw in the open of yesterday. And I was like, oh, okay. Let's see here. This was yesterday's open. Let's see here. It was. All right, well, in real, it's hard to see it in real time. Okay, what I want to show you here is anytime you see red here, that's negative delta. That means that they're sellers. Okay, and the sellers were really hitting these candles at the lows. Okay, there was imbalances to the sell side, and then they got their faces ripped off. You see this positive delta here? That just means that people are hitting the ask. Okay, that's aggressive buyers. And you had all this negative delta here. Really hot. The hotter the red, the more hot. and then boom, big delta. That's what I love footprint charts. You can see inside the candles. Okay, just wanted to share that with you guys. All right, so share that footprint with you. You know, one day I am gonna open up and show you. I want to show everybody what I'm seeing during the day and kind of comment what I'm seeing. I'll just show you one more thing. The internals. Hold on a second here. I'm going to show you one thing here. Boop. This is what I look at right here is my internals. All right, this kind of shows me. This is how I base a lot of the strength in the market off of. Okay, and you can see yesterday. Well, Infotech wasn't as strong yesterday. Okay, but it was stronger earlier in the day. See healthcare, and then look at the big boy. Consumer discretionary was up over 1% off the open. This is all off the open, so everything's green. This is your vol D, which means volume into up stocks versus down stocks. The NYSE had a 4-to-1 ratio of volume into up stocks. Okay, ticks were really heavy, really nice in the beginning, but then that barcode happened in the middle of the day, which stunk. All right, just wanted to show you that. Sorry for the sidetrack. Just wanted to show you what I look at. All right, let's get right into today. All right, we have silver up 1.15%. Now, this is very, very important, possibly because of the war. Okay, the metals, the safe havens are getting bought. Now look at the 30-year bonds. This is a pretty decent story. Sorry about that. My daughter just needed to ask me something. All right. What I was saying was 30-year bonds, very interesting, up 1.12%. Okay, that's gonna push down the 10-year yield. Now look, they're catching a bid. All right, so very interesting to see that. Now gold catching a bid a little bit. Now gold hit a key level, so I'm gonna be on watch for that. Nasdaq up 0.37. ES up 0.27, the Dow's up 0.24, the Russell's up slightly. 10-year yield at 820 should be down. All right, dollar is flat. The 105.88 level is acting as resistance. So let's see what happens with that. Okay, Bitcoin down 0.67. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. That was my daughter again. I took about that. That's crude's down a percent. Okay, crude's just been sideways, not knowing to do with this war, and the VIX is still at a 16, which is a 1% expected move in the daily. All right, so let's move on, or try to move on. All right, now Boeing got initiated coverage from a firm as a buy. Now I'm looking at Boeing. I almost took a long yesterday in a day trade because if you look at the chart, it's been very beaten down, and I wanted to see it hold 190. It did, came back to VWAP yesterday and then got bought up. Now, with the coverage initiated at a buy, very interesting with Boeing. Okay, Nvidia, okay, Nvidia just got a price target raised to 700 from 600, so that's getting some love. Tesla's up 0.77. Tesla needs a hold 265. Tesla made a nice move yesterday. Okay, almost hit the 270. 270 is a huge positive gamma level. Okay, 265 is also a large positive gamma level. You want to see it hold 265 today. Okay, got Roblox up 0.65. Okay, is there laggards? Now I want to show one thing. Netflix got a huge sell-off yesterday. Okay, they announced the president of advertising, Jeremy Gorin, was being replaced by Amy Reinhard. That was why the sell-off happened there. All right. Now, Amazon. Amazon has Prime Day, but they just got a price target cut to 189. Okay. What else? What else? All right. Now let's go to some laggards here. Is there one? Apple is flat. Okay. Baba is basically flat. China had a decent day in the market. Okay, let's move on. All right, Qualcomm, Walmart, McDonald's seems to be the leaders there. PepsiCo, and is there laggards? Morgan Stanley actually did get a downgrade. Chevron, sympathy play from Exxon. Exxon is down 2.73%. They just acquired Pioneer, so that is a cost, and that's going to drive the stock down. Okay. Moving on. Sectors. Okay, no surprise. Technology, semis, discretionary. Discretionary is the one that I said needed to break out. If you get follow through today in Tesla, that will just fuel. Okay, and we'll see if SPY can fill the gap fully. But we've had 3 days of buying, so it might be a day to balance or might be a day to pull back a little bit. We'll have to see. Okay, what's the lagger? Energy, no surprise there with Exxon. Okay, but that's just an acquisition of Pioneer. So let's move on to some news. Now the big news today is going to be PPI, which reports in 8 minutes. All right, 8 minutes. We have PPI. Okay, we're looking at, it's pretty interesting. Consensus is 0.3, forecast is 0.4, previous was 0.7. So basically they're looking for almost a 0.3 to a 0.4 reduction in PP year headline number. Now the core is looking for 0.2, the same as last month. But the year over year is looking for a decent softening of that number. So this will be very interesting because 0.3, a 0.4 reduction, if you don't get that, will be interesting to see what that does with the market. Okay, if it comes in line, that's, these rate hikes are doing its job, right? If it comes in line, a 0.3, 0.4, but if you get a 0.6 or a 0.7, that's probably going to be a little bearish. Okay, then we have FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. We have FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. So we get to see the minutes from the Fed, the Fed rate decision. Okay. Tomorrow we have CPI. Okay. Usually CPI goes first and then PPI, but today we have PPI. Okay, that's that. I went over news already, so I don't really have to go into news actually. And that was your market news. All right, now we can get over to the daily charts. All right, let's look at this. So here's the gap. We opened here. Now look, this was all these 2 candles. Okay. Anybody who's short at this top, this candle, okay, they had to cover. That's what fueled the rally. That's what fueled the rally. Okay. And we closed above the 20-day simple moving average. Okay. Now, what did this do? Okay, we're still in the middle of last month. Okay, now we're back into this area. Okay, now let's see if we can fill this gap today. I don't know. You have 3 days of this. You had a pretty nasty selling wick here. All right, and then you had a barcode for hours that was almost in a long, and it was just so painful. 2 days in a row, you had this barcode. It was so annoying. I understand that afternoon might be slow or small, but it just like died. So anyway, where are we at now? We're at 435.80. 435.80. We are, of course, now you broke out of that consolidation, right? We're right at the start of this gap. So we're in the upper third of this range. Okay. Now, you do have shorts from the top. So it's very interesting to see what happens today. Because this is a pretty nasty selling wick. Alright. So that's the SPY. Let's look at the Qs. Now the Qs went all the way up to this resistance area right here. Right here. See these three candles? That was resistance. Went right up there. Tagged it. Now, I'll show you in the futures why that stopped there. Okay, that's why I look at futures and I look at these little ETFs, these indexes, the SPY and the Qs, because they'll do certain things off the futures and do certain things off these ETFs. Right? So you stopped here, right, because of this resistance, right? And SPY partially filled the gap, but guess what? The ES futures, that was the bottom of the gap, and that was resistance, and I'm going to show you that in a second. So where's the Qs now? 369.90, 369.90, right here. So it's holding the prices in the upper third, right? I think it's tough sledding right now for Qs. I'm gonna be honest with you. This right here where it hit resistance, it's tough sledding. I think you could get a sideways balancey day or a little bit of a pullback. Okay, and I'll get into the why. Right? Now, let's look at this triple-headed monster with the 10-year yield. Okay? Now, the yields are pulling back. Okay? 2 minutes we have PPI. Now, yields, I've reported, they're down another 1.5%. Look, they just broke back under the previous month's highs. Okay? They just hit last week's lows. See that? Came down. If you continue, the next move is going to be down to 4.48. It's right here now. Actually, I'm sorry, it's not here. It's here. It's gapped down again. So you're below last week's lows. Next stop would be here, around 4.48 yield. Okay? Now, there's a lot of shorts in bonds. Okay, this could cause a huge short squeeze. Okay? Because remember, this is the inverse of the bond market. This means that people are buying bonds now for safety. And if this continues, it's also going to fuel the market up. So pay attention to this. VIX. The VIX is made a high in the 20s, right? We're starting to come off in the VIX a little bit, but we're still volatilities here. 16 VIX is a 1% move in the market. Now, if we start to break 16, go back under the 15, right? Start to move down, and the yields start to come down. The dollar needs to come down as well. This is all kind of lining up for a rally. Okay. Now let's look at this. I said the 105.88 in the dollar was the key resistance that it broke, but now it came back, and now it's got two selling wicks below it. If you continue to get weakness in the dollar, right? That's good for commodities. That's good for stocks. So really keep an eye on that. Yields really smacking down is going to make bond shorts nervous. Okay? So that's that. That's the triple-headed monster, I like to call it. All right, bounces is smart money. Remember that. All right, let's get into the structures of the volume profile. Oh, my bad. Let's look at these PPI numbers. Let's look at them together. I'm sorry. Okay. Now they're higher. I think that was a little overzealous here. So PPI headline number, consensus 0.3. Look what it came out, 0.5. So better than last month, right? But it was hotter than they thought. Core PPI was also hotter. It was 0.1 above. Now that's usually bearish. That should be bearish. These are bearish numbers, right? Do I think it's going to dent the rally? Not really, but right now it's bearish. Okay. Now let's look at what the market's doing with that information really quickly. Okay, like I said, that's a little bearish. It's going to knock some longs into liquidating right now. Okay, so we can just look at the profile here. Right here. This is the ES. Next to it's the NASDAQ. So we can just look at it bar by bar. There's the bar. Here's price. Okay, here's the NASDAQ. Okay. That's what we have going on in both NASDAQ and ES. Okay, so price was here. Those numbers are bearish. Came right into a demand zone here. You came right into the most traded price of yesterday in the NASDAQ. Okay, came right down to the 50-day simple moving average as well. So, and that is right now, the numbers missed. So you could get a pullback today with this news if this gets follow through. If not, then it'll be a nothing burger. Okay. So let's go back and let's analyze this market together. Okay. We got the numbers in. Okay. Let's go over this. Now, this weekly profile. Okay. Look at this. Distribution, 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 distribution. Guess what? In a 24-hour time frame, the most traded price has moved up to 4,400. Okay. This has not happened in the real time. It's still down here, the most traded price. However, most likely, if we stay up there, it's going to move up, and then that's going to be bullish structure. If you move value up, and value follows price, usually you get higher prices. Okay. Now look what we did yesterday. Okay. I can pull this down a little bit. Okay. Here's the futures gap. Right here. It's the box. This was the bottom of the futures gap. That was resistance yesterday. That's what caused the market to have resistance. Okay. All right. So like I said, we're above major levels. Okay. 200-day moving average, monthly VWAP. Okay. 9 EMA daily, we're above. So we're above the 20-day simple moving average. So there's a lot in the futures. Okay, this is the futures. Okay, so now let's look at what's going on. All right, price is here. Okay, right close to the middle of yesterday's session. This is inside yesterday's session. Here's yesterday's low, yesterday's high. We're inside yesterday's session. Okay, inventory. You were almost 100% net long. Well, now price is back here, so that's no longer an edge. It's not an edge. You do, actually, I didn't see this, have single prints here. Okay, so I have to put those in. I missed that yesterday, marking that off here. So I'm going to mark single prints off here. Okay. So now we have single prints here, right? That's emotional buying. You actually have more single prints down here. So you actually almost have, these are all single prints. So remember I talked about that being a little bit of a toothpick holding up an elephant, right? But I said if it gets defended, it's bullish. It's bullish. So you do have a little bit of a weak low here at the overnight low, because underneath this you have single prints, which is not much support. But if it is supportive, if we come down here, if it is supportive, that's bullish. Okay. Now the market needs liquidity to move. Okay, so now you know you have shorts from here, shorts from here. Now the market's moving up on the bad news, which is bullish. Okay. So this 44.10, oh, I'm sorry, 44.19, 44.20 is the start of the bottom of the gap. So that's very important. Okay, so what do we have today? Let's talk about it. Now, market's here, right? For me, okay, for a bullish scenario, I would like to see, all right, you can move up, but then let's say it moves back down. You go down here to this demand zone and you hit the singles, come in, whip back, hold, start making some lower highs. You can make yourself up to hit yesterday's highs and try to fill this gap in the futures. Okay. Now remember, anything above all these big levels is bullish. Okay. You could also come down, break these singles, right? Come down here, test yesterday's lows. Everybody thinks, oh my God, the market's getting sold off, and you can do this. And then either you balance here or you can try to fill that gap again. Okay, so that's that. Now, obviously, bearish wise, I already gave you here this weak low 43.88. Okay, if you break that and break this demand, come down, boom, break it, you could definitely smack right into yesterday's lows. If you break that demand, there's single prints down here. Now I don't know if this happens because this is pretty weak, but you could make yourself down here to this demand zone. Okay. Also, if you do come up, fill the gap. There's a supply zone up here. If you hit that, that could also be push us back down here. Okay. So that's the ES. All right. So let's look at the NASDAQ, how that looks. Now the NASDAQ, what I wanted to show you guys, I've got a bunch of distributions here with this weekly profile, right? Distribution here, 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 right? And now you're starting to get volume here with no excess, right? Now, notice this, like this green box here I have on futures. Well, that's the most traded price of this year. That's why it got resistance there. That was no surprise. Okay? None at all. All right. Now, okay, now looking at this together. This is the session overnight. We're inside yesterday's session. Okay. Now, this is very interesting. And this is another weak low, which can cause a little sharp move to the downside. Okay. So, real quickly, overnight low right here is weak. Now why? Because now you have the most traded price of yesterday and of the 24-hour session of the week. If you break these lows, you have a little bit of single prints all the way down to yesterday's low. That could be a short move down to then fuel a little bit of a rally. And I don't think we get over this very easily. It's going to take a lot of work. Okay. So, Inside yesterday's session, not much there. Okay. However, let's look at the scenarios together. Okay. So, what do we have right here? All right. So let's look at a bullish argument. Okay. Now, I don't like the NASDAQ long as much because you have the 100-day moving average in futures and you have this huge most share price of the year right here. Okay, you do have a supply over, so you could probably reach up to here, but it's just got a lot of overhead supply. I'm not saying it can't do it. It's just probability. It's looking to me like it might make it up there and then like balance. Okay, so what you need to see here is the market kind of hold this overnight low. If it holds, you could give fuel, maybe touch yesterday's highs and go up to here. And I think that would probably be it. But I don't know. This is pretty tough area to catch through the first time. All right. You can also come down here, of course, break this week low, come down here, test into these single prints, recover, and that could fuel the move up, right? And maybe balance in here. Okay. Now, a key level, like I said, is this week low, the overnight low right here. This is key, okay, because you have longs all in here that can get liquidated. So if you do calm down and pop through it, hold it, and you get some volume and weakness, you can cut these singles down. And then the real test is this demand holds or these singles hold. And then if they hold, it's bullish and we might just balance here. Okay. That's what I see. Okay. Going on in the markets. Okay. Hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe, set an alert. That would mean a lot. You could also give me a big like. That would mean a lot. Help my channel. Alright. Also, you can follow me on X at Gonzo719. Alright. So I wish everybody good luck today. Stay green. Remember, PPI already reported, looking like a nothing burger. And we got FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock. Alright. Everybody have a great day.